That'll be a change in the past 3.5 years.
Louise Hupston.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I'm very proud to stand and take a call in this Budget 2012 debate. Mr Speaker, over the last couple of weeks, since Budget Day, I've been taking the budget to the people of the Taupo electorate that I'm enormously proud to represent. I've had post-budget coffee catch-ups in places like Tiro, in Putararu, in Tokoroa, in Cambridge, in Taupo and in Turangi. And one of the things, Mr Speaker, that's been quite interesting is I've been surprised at the fact that there haven't actually been too many people who have been turning up with lots of questions to ask. And, Mr Speaker, I firmly believe that's because they know this is a budget for our times. This is a budget that is sensible, that is moderate, that is balanced, and one that perfectly fits the times that we're in. It sets the path back to surplus, but more importantly, Mr Speaker, it has that balance right in terms of protecting those who need protection, also making sure that we have an economy that's heading in the right direction, that is growing, albeit slowly, slowly and steadily. And that's why, Mr Speaker, I'm proud of this budget. And one of the things that has been really important is just to remind the people in my community about the context, about the broader context in which this budget was delivered. Now, I'm staggered that some on the other side of the House tend to have forgotten some of the major issues economically that this government has faced. Not only coming in after 9 years of Labor to a recession already underway, to a global financial crisis, to a continuing environment where there is still uncertainty in Europe and a space that's changing, Mr Speaker, by the day, but also the destructive earthquakes in Canterbury that have come with a price tag to the Crown of $20 billion. So that side of the House tends to kind of forget that that's the context in which this budget has been set. And the reality is, although we would like to have really certain times in front of us, they aren't. They're not going to be for quite some time. And so this is a budget that's taken that into consideration. But we've still managed to put new spending into the areas that matter, new spending into areas like science and innovation, new spending into health, new spending into education, and into reducing areas like my colleague Jackie Dean spoke about before in terms of getting on top of crime. And these are the things that people in my electorate say are important. So this government is spending the money exactly where New Zealanders want it to be spent. We are managing the finances tightly. We are building a more competitive environment. We are making sure that the recipe is in place for businesses to grow. We are rebuilding Canterbury, getting that city and that region back on its feet, all the while with international challenges still in front of us. Now, it's really interesting because the spending that we are spending in Budget 2012 is exactly what New Zealanders are asking. Exactly what New Zealanders are asking for. We are spending, however, through savings. Now that, Mr Speaker, should be no surprise to anyone in this House if they are in direct contact with the people they represent, because that's exactly what individuals, what families, what businesses, what community organisations are doing up and down this country. They don't have new wads of money that float through their door on a daily basis. They are making do with what they have, and that's exactly what this government is demonstrating. It's not a slash and burn budget, it's a responsible budget. We have a very tight constraint on the spending that we have, and we are spending new spending on the areas that count to New Zealanders.
Why do you attack the kids?
So if we look at health, for example, $1.5 billion in health. Now, where is some of that spending going? Well, it's going into things like faster treatment for people who have cancer. Now, if anyone in this House has dealt with or spent time with someone in that situation, they know that that's important to ordinary New Zealanders. And so that's what the priority on this side of the House, that's exactly what we're doing. In terms of welfare reform, the approach that this government is taking is saying, well, actually, we might have to spend a bit more money up front. But to spend the money up front to get families and individuals out of poverty, to get out of the welfare benefit trap, is worth it. So that's another area that New Zealanders up and down this country are saying they are supportive of. They support exactly what this government is doing, and that's why New Zealanders are supporting exactly what we're doing. Now, let's talk education.
Yeah, quick.
Yeah, absolutely. Very pleased to talk about education. Very proud to be part of this side of the House, to be part of a party that has an unrelenting focus on lifting student achievement. Unrelenting. Unrelenting. Do you want me to say it again? Student achievement is the focus of this government. Absolutely. Now, in this one, yep, absolutely. I'm more than happy to talk about the class sizes, because what happened is parents told us that they, were concerned about where that might go. So what did we do? What did we do? We responded exactly to the feedback that we were given. And do you know what I've had since then? I've had texts, I've had emails, I've had phone calls from people saying, thank you. Thank you for listening. And you know why that side of the House is so plugged in about it? Because they never listened. They never listened, they never responded. They are so out of touch with ordinary New Zealanders. They can't handle the fact that we are willing to say, okay,
that's right, we were only in power for 9 years.
Let's say we are focusing on student achievement. That side of the House clearly didn't do it because they left 1 in 5 children behind, and we're not willing to do it. We're not willing to leave 1 in 5 of our young people behind. And that is clearly demonstrated in some of the results, some of the targets that we've set in our public services.
Are you sure you
or they're going quiet. So early childhood education, 98% is what we have said for our young people. Because you talk to any primary school teacher who teaches a new entrant class, what makes the difference in terms of them teaching those children early childhood education? Absolutely. And we've been spending more money than you ever spent in 9 years in government. Spending, absolutely, it's increased, and that side of the House just can't handle it. So what else have we set in terms of targets, Mr. Speaker? Well, the next one, and I'm happy to say it is ambitious. To have 85% of our school leavers leave with NCEA level 2 by 2016. That's going to be tough. That's going to be a challenge. But does this side of the House shy away from a challenge like that? Absolutely not, because it is worth it. This side of the House is focused on results. One of the results that my colleague Jackie Dean talked about in the area of law and order, which is another area that's particularly important to the people of the Taupo electorate, is keeping our families and our communities safer. And so if you look at the target that we've set in terms of reducing prisoner reoffending, if we reduce that by 25%, that translates to 18,500 fewer victims every year. 18,500 fewer victims. That's the sort of thing that this side of the House is focused on, and that's why New Zealanders are supporting what we're doing, because they trust that our budget, that our plan will get the results that they are interested in. So Mr. Speaker, I'm proud of Budget 2012. I'm proud of what we've delivered despite being in tough times. I recognise, listening to my constituents on a daily basis, that individuals, that families, that businesses and communities have been doing it tough. I recognise that, and I hear it nearly daily. But this side of the House, unlike those who live on planet Labour, don't want to wish away the recession. We're not pretending that there was no global financial crisis. We're not pretending that Canterbury comes with a $20 billion price tag. We are actually taking the actions slowly, surely, moderately, sensibly and deliberately that will get New Zealand where we all want it to be. So things are getting better. Our economy is growing slowly and surely. The number of jobs are growing, 17,000 in Christchurch alone. Business confidence is growing. Our major export markets of Asia and Australia are growing. And that's why, Mr Speaker, under National, things are looking up.
Mr Sam Lottoing, you have about 5 minutes remaining. I'll give you
5 minutes.